Discover how a 5-blind date revealed an incredible connection that changed their lives forever. Emily brushed her hair back, glancing at her reflection in the cracked bathroom mirror. The tired eyes staring back at her reflected the weight of 1,000 responsibilities. As a single mother to her 8-year-old daughter Lily, each day felt like a sprint. She worked 2 jobs, balancing coffee spills and grumpy customers behind the counter at the diner while rushing home to help with homework and prepare dinners. "Mommy, can we play instead?" Lily would ask, her bright eyes sparkling with hope. Emily's heart ached, knowing that there was little time left in her day, but she would always smile and promise, "Tomorrow, sweetheart." Across town, Jake leaned against a tree, struggling to steady his breathing. His hands trembled. They weren't just sweaty, they reminded him of the chaos he could never escape. For years in the military had left scars deeper than the ones he could see. He wandered from job interview to job interview, earning polite nods, but always leaving with his head hanging low. How could he explain the panic that gripped him like an iron fist, images flashing before his eyes that had nothing to do with the present moment? Yet here he was, dying for a chance to belong again. Then came the fateful night championed by their well-meaning neighbor, a blind date set for just $5 at the local diner, a place where life bubbled with stories and laughter. Emily felt skeptical as she walked in. "What am I doing here?" she mused, but when her eyes locked with Jake's across the table, something shifted. She noticed his scruffy beard, his warm smile that sparked a flicker of connection. He looked just as nervous as she felt. The clanging of dishes transformed into a soft melody, and for the first time in a long while, she felt seen. They began talking about their childhoods, how they listened to classic country songs on hot summer nights, their families laughing and dancing on porches. The laughter that echoed from the jukebox wrapped around them like a comforting blanket. Then the conversation deepened. Jake opened up about his struggles, his voice almost a whisper. "People don't understand what's inside, the battles keep coming even now." Emily's heart raced. She thought of the glares she received when rushing to the grocery store with Lily, always wondering if people saw her as a failure. "I get that," she replied softly, her own doubts spilling over into their raw connection. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As their connection grew, so did the challenges they faced. Each alarming glance from passers-by drove home society's judgment, creating a tension that hung heavily in the air. Their laughter mixed with the diner chatter, blurring the lines between hope and despair. Just as the night felt like it was spinning into something truly special, shadows from both their pasts loomed larger than life. Jake's demons threatened to pull him under while Emily craved that very connection society snatched away. But just as doubts filled the space between them, the community that had long watched them from the sidelines rallied around. Friends arrived with warm smiles and stories to share, creating a web of support. Everyone began to voice their commitment to acceptance, carving pathways towards a better tomorrow for Emily and Jake. It was a moment brimming with possibilities, yet just as both dared to dream of happiness, a shocking twist rocked their fragile world. Would they bend under pressure, or could they emerge stronger together? Emily sat on the edge of her bed, clutching her phone. The warmth of Jake's smile lingered in her mind like a soft glow. It had been a whirlwind of emotions last night, but now, with the sun creeping through her curtains, reality loomed. Her routine awaited, along with the laundry, dishes, and all the unanswered questions swirling in her heart about Jake. "Mommy." Lily's voice interrupted her thoughts, exuding innocent excitement. "Are you going to play with me now?" Emily sighed, heart heavy. "Today is a busy day, honey. Can we do it later?" Lily's face dropped slightly, but she masked it quickly. "Okay." She scampered off, leaving Emily with a sense of guilt that twisted in her stomach. As she forced herself into the daily grind of work and chaos, whispers of last night kept creeping back. She had felt understood, if only for a moment. Meanwhile, Jake was sitting in his truck, parked to the side of the diner where hope and despair had intertwined. Last night flickered in his mind like the burnt-out light bulb overhead. Every laugh from Emily echoed in his head, until it finally converged into a sharp realization he craved more than just fleeting connections. He longed for a sense of belonging, to bridge the gap between his troubled past and an uncertain future. Rumbling stomachs and empty thoughts filled his mind, but he pushed through the haze. Would she think about him? Did he leave a good impression? Questions tightened his chest, and he sighed, gripping the steering wheel. He knew he could text her, he should. But self-doubt gnawed at him. What if the shadows of his past haunted her too? He finally mustered the courage, tapping out a message. Hey, Emily. Had a great time last night. Would you like to meet again? His thumb hovered over the send button, heart racing. What if she didn't respond? What if she thought it was a mistake? After moments that felt like years, he pressed send. A wave of relief washed over him, but it quickly turned to anxiety. Seconds turned into minutes. He had let vulnerability seep through, and would she appreciate it or turn away? Across town, Emily's phone buzzed, jolting her from the mundanity of folding laundry. The name lit up the screen, Jake. The rush of warmth spread over her as anticipation seeped into her veins. With a shaky breath, she opened the message and read his words. Excitement coursed through her, tinged with fear. Was she ready for this? She needed to open up again, to push past her reservations. But swimming in those thoughts led her to another reality: the struggles she faced as a single mother. Her commitments chained her in place, but Jake was different. He understood the depth of her struggles and offered her not just companionship, but hope. Cooking with Lily could wait. As she typed back, yes. I'd love to meet again, a sense of lightness settled in her heart. When Jake saw her reply pop up, a smile broke free, a rarity these days. Hope flickered anew within him. Maybe they weren't merely two lost souls, but rather threads woven together by circumstance, yearning for more. That afternoon, the sky darkened, clouds swirling ominously above them. Emily and Jake had a date planned, but with the storm raging outside, would they face their fears or shy away from the genuine connection that had sparked so brightly? Would they allow their worlds to collide, or would the turmoil of weather mirror the chaos of their lives, tearing them apart before they even had a chance to begin? Emily stood by the window, watching the dark clouds roll in. The wind tousled the leaves, and she felt a chill seep into her bones. She couldn't shake the nervous energy coursing through her, mirrored by the storm brewing outside. Today was supposed to be different, yet the pressure of past failures loomed heavily in her mind. Her thoughts were interrupted by the soft thud of small feet or padding against the floor. Lily burst into the room, her pigtails bouncing with each enthusiastic step. Mommy, can we make cookies before you go? Emily hesitated. Time was short. Sweetheart, I please. Lily's bottom lip jutted out, her big eyes pleading. Emily felt a wave of tenderness wash over her. How could she say no? She smiled and knelt down to Lily's level. Okay, we can make cookies, but it has to be quick. Joy erupted on Lily's face, and together they rushed to the kitchen, flour flying as they laughed and mixed ingredients. But in the background of the delightful mess, Emily's mind kept drifting back to Jake. What if today didn't work out? What if she closed off, scared to connect? As they rolled the cookie dough into balls, Emily found herself lost in thought. Thoughts of her late-night fears merged with the sunshine of hope she felt after texting Jake. Could she truly risk her heart again? With every cookie they baked, she wrestled with the idea. What if this was more than just another fleeting moment? Meanwhile, Jake sat in his truck, caught in a downpour. Rain battered against the windshield, blurring the world outside. He felt a mix of excitement and dread, his first real date since everything went downhill. He replayed their conversation in his mind, each laugh and moment shared like a fragile promise. But as the storm merged with his tumultuous thoughts, doubts ricocheted in his mind. Would Emily still feel the same way? What if she saw him as broken? His phone buzzed again. A quick glance revealed a message from Emily, a photo of the cookie dough. She was laughing as flour dusted her cheeks. He couldn't help but smile. She was vibrant, genuine, and everything he found captivating. That single image pulled him from the depths of his uncertainty. "Can't wait to see you. I hope the cookies turn out." Grinning, he responded quickly, "I'm counting on you to sweeten my day." The rain began to lighten as he finally decided it was time to face the storm, literally and figuratively. He turned off the truck, splashed through puddles, and headed to the diner where they'd planned to meet. Each step felt heavier, the weight of his insecurities palpable. What if he misread everything? Back at Emily's house, the aroma of chocolate chip cookies filled the air, but the warmth of the oven did little to ease her nerves. She looked at the clock. Time was slipping away, the date edging closer. Were the cookies enough? Was she enough for Jake? The doorbell rang, shattering her train of thought. Lily scampered to answer it, and Emily's heart raced. She wiped her hands on a dish towel and took a deep breath. The moment she swung the door open, the outside world seemed to quiet. There stood Jake, drenched but smiling, water droplets glimmering on his hair. "Wow, looks like we've both faced storms today," he quipped, shaking off his damp coat, and Emily laughed, the heaviness in her heart lifting just a little. "Come in, it's a mess, but I promise the cookies are good." As they stood there, feelings crackling in the air between them, Emily couldn't help but wonder, was this the connection they both yearned for? Would it weather the storm, or would it drown under the weight of life's unpredictability? The aroma of warm chocolate chip cookies enveloped the small kitchen, mingling with the excited energy that bounced off the walls. Emily watched as Jake stepped inside, shaking his coat like a dog after a bath. His smile was wide, and the way his eyes sparkled made her heart flutter. It felt so natural to see him there, even with the rain still trickling down his cheeks. "Are you sure about the cookies? I might eat too many," he joked, glancing at the baking sheet piled high. Emily laughed, feeling a surge of relief. "Well, you can't say no to cookies when it's raining outside. It's practically a law." They moved to the table, where Lily had already claimed her seat, her face a mixture of curiosity and excitement. "Hi, Jake. Do you want to help decorate the cookies?" she asked, her small fingers eager to grab the icing. "How could I refuse such a tempting offer?" Jake replied, leaning closer to Emily as he reached for a bottle of sprinkles. The warmth of his presence made her heart race, and she found herself stealing glances at him when he was looking. As they decorated, Lily chattered about everything from her favorite cartoons to how much she loved cookies. Emily watched Jake kneel down to Lily's level, equally engaged. He listened intently, nodding and adding his own stories. The way he interacted with her daughter sent comfort spiraling through Emily. It felt right. "Okay, we should come up with names for each cookie," Lily said, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "I think this one should be called Rainbow Unicorn, and this one here can be Chocolate Cloud." "Those are perfect," Jake replied, beaming. "You are a great cookie namer." The atmosphere lightened with laughter, but beneath the surface, Emily felt those old insecurities bubble back. As she frosted the cookies, she wondered how long this transitory happiness could last. Could Jake be the person to lift her out of her past failures? "There is something so comforting about baking with friends," he remarked suddenly, breaking through her thoughts. She could sense the deeper meanings behind his words, the vulnerabilities that lay just beneath the surface. "What do you mean by that?" Emily asked, intrigued that he hesitated, his eyes reflecting the flickering dim light of the kitchen. "Well, it reminds me of simpler times when I didn't have to think about the weight of the world. Just, being happy, you know." Emily nodded, feeling the walls she had carefully built around herself start to crack. She wanted to push forward, to let him in. Yes, sometimes it feels like a little slice of peace among chaos. Pushing her feelings aside seemed impossible now. As the cookies cooled, she felt an unspoken connection starting to deepen, knitting them closer. They shared stolen glances, their fingers brushing occasionally as they reached for the same sprinkles. But then, the door suddenly slammed shut behind Jake. He flinched, straightening up. The joyful atmosphere shifted quickly. "Did you hear that?" he asked, concern clouding over his smile. What had started as a light-hearted moment now felt heavy with unvoiced fears. Emily's stomach knotted. "I think it was just the wind." The rain began to pound against the windows again, sending shadows into the brightly lit kitchen. They stood there in silence, tension threading between them like the lightning racing across the sky. Could they really navigate this storm, both inside and outside? Jake shifted, his brow furrowing as if he were wrestling with his own thoughts. "You know, Emily. I need to tell you something." The moment hung thick in the air, her heart pounding loudly in her ears. Was this what her heart was yearning for? Would they finally face the storm together, or would it tear them apart? "Jake, wait," she started, but the words escaped like leaves tossed in the wind. And then, just like that, the storm closed in, and the power flickered, plunging the room into darkness. Emily gasped as darkness enveloped the room. The comforting glow of the kitchen lights vanished, leaving her feeling disoriented. The sudden quiet felt overwhelming, broken only by the rhythm of rain drumming on the roof. Her heart raced as she struggled to catch her breath. "Jake?" she called out, her voice echoing in the stillness. Panic tightened around her like a vice. She could barely make out his figure, silhouetted against the window's faint blur. "I'm here," he replied, his voice steady despite the tension crackling in the air. "Just 1 second." She heard him rummaging through drawers until the flickering light of a candle brought soft shadows to the kitchen. It was a small flicker, but it grounded her. "Okay, that's better," he said, placing the candle on the table. The warm light directed their focus back to the cookie decorations, which felt out of place amidst the shifting emotions. Lily, sensing the tension, spoke up. "Can we tell ghost stories instead since it's dark?" Her little voice, full of innocence and excitement, somehow lightened the atmosphere. Jake chuckled softly, nodding. "I think that's a great idea. You start, Lily." Emily watched the two of them. Jake leaned in, his expressive eyes fixed on Lily as she wove a tale filled with imaginary monsters and brave heroes. His laughter echoed against the walls, and Emily felt a warmth trickle into her chest. But the comfort was fleeting, sliced through by the memory of Jake's unfinished thought, pressing like a weight against her. What had he wanted to tell her? As Lily wrapped up her story, she looked at her mother expectantly. "Now you tell one, Mommy." Emily hesitated, her fingers absently tracing the frosting swirls on the cookies. Okay, there was once a lady who baked cookies in the dark." The words tumbled out, but her thoughts were jumbled too. She managed to turn it into a tale about facing fears and finding light even in the darkest moments, and as she spoke, she felt the flicker of hope amidst her worries. Jake's gaze stayed locked on her, and she saw something shift in his expression. Was it admiration or understanding? The ambient glow of the candle danced between them like a fragile bridge of connection. When she finished, the applause from Lily was spontaneous, and Emily felt a surge of pride. "See, you did great," Jake said, smiling brightly. "I think we have a new talent in the family." A comfortable silence enveloped them, where moments of laughter hung suspended. Yet the weight of emotion still loomed, unspoken and heavy. Emily," Jake whispered, almost lost amid the ambient chaos of the rain. He paused again, and she felt her heart quicken. What was it? The world outside seemed to fade away, the rain a distant lullaby. She held her breath, the tension returning as he took a visible breath, grounding himself. "Can I be honest?" he finally asked, his voice lower now. "Yes, of course," she replied, her heart racing with anticipation and fear. Would this be the moment where everything changed, but before he could respond, the haunting howl of the wind outside flared suddenly. The candle flickered wildly, threatening to go out. Just as quickly, the power returned, the kitchen lights flooding back to life. "Wow!" Lily exclaimed, clapping her hands. Emily and Jake blinked in the sudden brightness. The moment shattered, leaving something unspoken lingering in the air like an unfinished song. I should go check on the windows," Jake said, his tone now slightly more guarded. "Be right back." Before she could say anything, he hurried off, leaving Emily alone with her swirling thoughts. As she stared at the now bright kitchen, her heart ached. Could moments of vulnerability truly lead to something deeper? Or was hesitation just part of navigating the chaos? And what did Jake really want to tell her? The rain continued to fall outside as she prepared for whatever storm lay ahead, the one brewing within her heart and perhaps one still lingering in the shadows. Emily let out a shaky breath, her eyes still locked on where Jake had just been. The warm light of the kitchen, previously a comfort, now felt almost suffocating. She could hear the distant rumble of thunder, a reminder of the chaos that danced both outside and within. "Mommy!" came Lily's enthusiastic voice, breaking the spell. "Can I turn the cookie dough into a monster?" Emily chuckled, the sound lifted by her daughter's infectious energy. "Sure, why not? Let us see what kind of monster you can create." As Lily began forming the dough into the shape of a creature, Emily found herself smiling, reminiscing about her own childhood adventures in the kitchen. There was something grounding, something that made the darkness outside feel less threatening, a reminder of simpler times, but the earlier tension pricked at the edges of her happiness. What had Jake wanted to say? She wiped her hands on a towel, glancing toward the window where the rain continued to paint streaks on the glass. A thought niggled in the back of her mind. What if he was going to admit his feelings? Could that lead to the connection both had been dancing around? The kitchen felt warmer with the possibility, and yet it was edged with apprehension. "Look, Mommy!" Lily's voice burst through her thoughts. "I made a cookie monster." Emily turned, her heart swelling as she saw her daughter holding a lopsided concoction with chocolate chip eyes and a gooey grin. "That's perfect, Lily. A true masterpiece." Pride lit up Lily's face, a radiant contrast to the uncertainty Emily felt. Perhaps this was what Jake wanted to share. Perhaps it was a blend of their lives transformed, woven into the fabric of family, love, and maybe a little magic. The sound of thunder rolled, and with it, she felt a deep pit of anxiety rise within her. "Jake," she murmured under her breath, hoping he was okay. As if hearing his name, he returned, shaking off raindrops like a dog. "Everything's fine," he declared, a hint of laughter in his tone. "Just had to make sure the storm wasn't coming in through the windows." Emily smiled, but Jake's demeanor had shifted. There was a tension in his shoulders, a shadow in his eyes. Lily bounced into his field of vision, waving her cookie monster triumphantly. "Look, Uncle Jake. Look what I made." Jake knelt beside Lily, his mood brightening momentarily as he admired the cookie. "That's amazing, kiddo. You're going to be a famous baker one day." But Emily caught the brief flicker of something deeper in his expression, curiosity mixed with something else. Was it fear? She felt drawn to him again. "I'm glad Jake's okay." The words slipped out before she could think, breaking the weight of the moment. "I was worried it was serious when you left." Jake stood, brushing his hands on his thighs, the warmth of his smile faltering. "Yeah, it was just the storm." She nodded, but the air felt thick again, an unfinished conversation hanging between them. "Can we go back to ghost stories?" Lily said, her enthusiasm unwavering. "I want to hear about the lady who baked cookies in the dark." Jake glanced at Emily, and this time his gaze held a different question. It was heavier, more vulnerable. "I think we can do that. But I want to hear what you were going to say, Emily." Her heart tightened. This was the moment. Their eyes locked, and the world outside faded. She felt something inside her shift. Okay, but I need to know what you want too. And just like that, they stood at the edge of something new, the storm outside whispering a promise. But would they take the leap? The candle flickered again, and she could feel the weight of the moment pressing down, daring them both to move forward. "Let us talk," she said, her voice steady despite the storm in her heart. With a deep breath, Jake took a step closer, and just then, the lights flickered once more. The darkness seemed to waver around them, as did their resolve. Would they find the words to overcome their fears, or would the storm sweep them away? The air was thick with anticipation, the darkness outside contrasting sharply with the warm glow of the candle that flickered on the kitchen table. Emily could feel her pulse quicken as Jake drew closer, their shared history hanging heavily between them like a powerful storm cloud. Jake's voice was low, almost a whisper, yet it reached out to her like a lifeline. "I've been thinking a lot lately. About us. About what this all means." Emily bit her lip, trying to suppress the flutter of hope mixed with fear inside her. "What do you mean?" She took a small step forward, narrowing the space between them, his eyes bore into hers, searching for something clarity, perhaps, or maybe reassurance. "I don't want to settle for what we have now. I think we can be more than just friends, more than just co-parents." The words tumbled out, clumsy but genuine. Lily was oblivious to the weight of their conversation, still happily squishing cookie dough between her fingers. "Mommy! I'm making a cookie monster army," she called, laughter bubbling over like the batter. Emily couldn't help but smile at her daughter's creativity, but her heart quaked at Jake's confession. "But Jake, what about everything else?" she asked softly. "The past, the messiness of life? Can we really walk that path?" Jake wiped a hand across his brow, visibly grappling with the intensity of their moment. "We're already walking a messy path. Why not choose each other as well? We've been through a lot together. I mean, look at Lily. She's our love. Can't we build on that?" The way he said our love sent ripples through her heart, warmth spreading from her core to her fingertips. It was a tender gesture that seemed capable of cracking open the hard shell of doubt around her heart. The wind howled outside, the storm intensifying, but inside the kitchen, time seemed to stand still. Emily focused on Jake's face, the way his expression softened, the way his gaze flickered between her eyes and lips filled with longing. It made her pulse race. Jake, what if she started, but words failed her? What if this was the moment they crossed an invisible line they had been dancing around for years? He reached out, his fingers brushing against hers. The warmth of his hand sent jolts of electricity through her. "Emily, I just want to be honest. I like you. More than like, really. I've felt it since the first day we met, and I don't want to lose what we have. But I also know we could have something deeper." The vulnerability in his eyes mirrored her own. It was terrifying but thrilling, a leap of faith that felt electrifying and daunting all at once. Emily could feel herself teetering on the edge of that leap, closer to, perhaps, a truth she had long buried beneath responsibilities and fears. She began, but just then, a loud crack of thunder cut through the air, rattling the windowpanes. It was like a dramatic punctuation to the tension hanging between them. Lily squealed, clapping her hands. "The lightning is making the ghosts mad. Tell the ghost stories, Mommy." Suddenly they both chuckled, the weight easing just a little. But the urgency remained. When Emily met Jake's gaze once more, all the laughter faded, leaving only a raw, palpable vulnerability. "Maybe we could mix cookie dough with those ghost stories. It could be a new tradition," she suggested, trying to diffuse the seriousness with a playful tone, though her heart raced with the possibility of what lay ahead. Jake smiled, but Emily could see he was still waiting for the answer she had yet to voice. "Should we?" she asked softly, feeling hope mix with something else, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. He stepped closer. "I won't pressure you. Just know that I'm here, whenever you're ready." Emily held his gaze, feeling the tug of all the moments, the laughter, and the love that had led them to this precarious point. And as she opened her mouth to speak, the lights flickered again, and once more the storm raged outside, a reflection of the turmoil within her. Could they truly dare to step into the unknown together, or would they let the moment slip away? In that fleeting second, the future seemed suspended, waiting for her response like a breath held in the storm. The candle continued to flicker, casting dancing shadows on the walls, while the wind outside howled like a restless spirit. In that suspended moment, Emily felt a surge of courage pushing against her fears. She still felt Jake's warmth lingering on her skin, igniting a flame within that had been dormant for too long. "Jake," she whispered, trying to gather her thoughts, but the weight of her emotions tangled her words. I just don't want to hurt either of us. We have Lily, we can't mess this up." Jake took a step back, forehead creasing with concern. "Emily, I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking for honesty." His voice softened with gentleness. "Life is messy, and we both know that. But we owe it to ourselves and to Lily to explore what could be." Her heart skipped a beat, hope shimmering like the candlelight. "But what if we try and it doesn't work? What if we ruin what we already have?" A rumble of thunder responded outside as if the universe was holding its breath. Jake took another step forward, his gaze unwavering. "What if we don't try, and we always wonder? Life's short, Em. We need to follow our hearts." Lily's innocent giggles broke through the heavy air like a bubble of light. "Mommy! Look! My cookie monster has a big cookie belly." She bounced up and down, oblivious to the deep currents surrounding the adults. Emily glanced at her daughter, the laughter flooding her soul. Lily was the embodiment of love and joy, a reminder of their bond. But was it enough to risk their friendship, their precious family? Yet, in Jake's eyes, she saw a reflection, a glimpse of something profound, waiting to be uncovered. The way he looked at her made the world outside seem irrelevant. It was just them in this cluttered kitchen, the storm, and their feelings. "Maybe," she began tentatively. "Maybe we could try to find a balance. A way to explore this without losing everything we've built." Jake's face brightened with hope. "Yes. We can take it slow. No pressure, just let things unfold naturally." His smile was genuine, lighting up his entire face, and it stirred something deep inside her. "A series of cookie dates?" she suggested, a playful lilt returning to her voice. "We could mix cookie dough with a bit of flirting. Count me in." Jake laughed, the sound hearty and real. The moment felt lighter, filled with a newfound possibility. Lily suddenly bounded over, cookie dough smeared across her cheeks like war paint. "I want to help. Let us bake a million cookies and tell ghost stories." Emily's heart swelled at the sight of them together, her daughter, with all her whimsy, and Jake, with his unwavering support. What if this was the start of something beautiful? "I think we can do that," she replied, a smile stretching across her face, filled with tentative excitement. Just then, the power flickered again, and the lights went out, plunging them into silence, broken only by the soft patter of rain against the window. Emily held her breath, caught between the thrill of the moment and the storm brewing in her heart. "Remember, no matter what, we're in this together," Jake reassured her, his voice steady and warm in the dark. Emily felt the weight of his words sink in. Could they really navigate the chaos together? As the storm raged outside, and darkness cocooned the kitchen, she held on to that thought, taking steps into the unknown, hand in hand, with the faintest glimmer of hope lighting their way. But just as she found her resolve, the lights flickered back on, illuminating the room and casting sharp shadows that seemed to divide them again. Would this moment of clarity hold, or would fear once again creep in and snuff out their progress? Emily's heart raced as she realized they were on the very edge of something extraordinary but fragile. Would she have the courage to move forward, or would doubt pull her back, yet again? The kitchen buzzed with a new energy as the lights flickered on, illuminating Emily's face. For a moment, uncertainty clawed its way back into her heart, mingling with the exhilaration she felt just moments before. The shadows cast by the lights felt like walls closing in, a haunting reminder of the risks she was pondering. Lily clapped her little hands, flower flecks dancing in the air. Mommy! Can we start now? Her excitement was infectious, breaking Emily's fragile reverie. Absolutely. Emily said, forcing a carefree smile. At that moment, in Lily's bright eyes, she saw the innocence of childhood and the belief that anything was possible. She needed to hold on to that hope, the possibility of blending love and friendship without losing either. Jake knelt beside Lily, a partner in enthusiasm. Okay, Chef. What's our first step? His playful demeanor lightened the mood, making Emily's heart flutter with warmth. As they gathered ingredients, the three of them transformed into an unlikely team. Flour coated their hands, sweet smells filled the air, and laughter bounced off the walls like balloons. But even amidst the joyful chaos, Emily's thoughts darted back to Jake. Each playful glance they exchanged seemed to carry unspoken promises. Could they really navigate this new territory? What's next, Cookie Queen? Jake asked Lily, leaning close to her as she poured in sprinkles. The small distance between him and Emily felt electric, heavy with potential. Maybe we add chocolate chips? Emily suggested, her voice barely more than a whisper as she reached to grab the bag. Their fingers brushed, sending a spark of awareness racing through her. Definitely. Jake agreed, his eyes locking on hers. We can't forget the chocolate. It makes everything better. Emily's breath caught in her throat. Was it just the cookies they were baking, or was it something deeper? They were testing boundaries that had felt safe for so long. She imagined what it might feel like to explore this uncharted area together, laughter mingling with late-night conversations and stolen glances when Lily was looking. Just as she teetered on the edge of the what-ifs, Lily placed a gooey mound of dough in front of Jake, clearly demanding his attention. Here, make this one extra big. It's a super cookie. Jake laughed, and Emily felt the sounds wrap around her like a favorite blanket. For that fleeting instant, she allowed herself to bask in the warmth of the moment, to imagine what could unfold. Their cookies were soon shaped and poured onto the oven tray, the aroma of vanilla and chocolate filling the air. But Emily couldn't shake the feeling that the deeper conversation still loomed, like a rolling fog just waiting to descend upon them once cookie baking was finished. Time for the ghost stories. Lily chirped, her eyes twinkling with delight. Emily hesitated. She knew that would mean settling into the living room, the heart of their home, where decisions were made, and where honesty flourished. Would it be the right time to talk about the real implications of their playful arrangement? Okay, but I get to start. Jake said, feigning a spooky voice as he moved to the living room. Lily squealed with excitement, easily swept into his energy. With a sigh, Emily followed, resigned but hopeful. She would have to confront her feelings soon, or they might slip through her fingers like sand. As the shadows grew heavier and the storm continued to tap at the windows, she took her seat beside Jake, heart racing. The cookies could be the backdrop to a moment that might change everything. Would she take the chance to open her heart, or let fear silence the bold thoughts itching to escape? And just as Lily nestled herself between them, asking for another story, Emily inhaled deeply, ready to tread the unpredictable waters ahead. Was she truly ready to embrace the transformation waiting to unfold, or would she once again shy away from what frightened her most? The room was filled with warmth as laughter bubbled over like a pot of cookies just out of the oven. Lily snuggled between Jake and Emily, her infectious energy igniting their spirits. The rain pounded on the windows, creating a comforting rhythm, a backdrop to the possibilities unfolding before them. Jake turned to Lily, his eyes shining with mischief. Okay, here's a ghost story. Once upon a time, there was a cookie monster who loved to bake but was terrified of the dark. Lily gasped, her big eyes sparkling. What happened? Emily crossed her arms, her heart swelling with a mixture of emotion, joy at seeing them together, but also the fear of what lay ahead. She needed clarity, needed to understand their path forward. As Jake continued his silly tale, spinning a narrative that made Lily giggle uncontrollably, she watched them, her heart twitching with hope and apprehension. He wrapped up the story with a triumphant cookie monster saving the day and turning off the lights to be brave, prompting Lily to burst into laughter. "He's just like you, Uncle Jake. He's not afraid of the dark anymore." Jake's laughter faded into a gentle smile as he turned to Emily. "I think you might have two cookie monsters here tonight, one who is ferociously brave and another who needs to learn a thing or two about stepping into the light." His gaze held hers, filled with sincerity, and a wedge of uncertainty melted within her. Was he talking about more than cookie adventures? She felt the walls around her reservations begin to fade, swept away in the warmth of their shared moments. "You're right," she said softly, her voice trembling slightly. "I've let fear control me long enough." Just then, the lights flickered again, and she bit her lip, turning her gaze back to the window. The storm outside had calmed, but the atmosphere in the room felt charged with a sense of urgency, like the calm before a beautiful revelation. Lily's laughter pulled her back, and a smile crept onto her face as the girl asked about what would happen next in the story. "Okay, how about this?" Emily chimed in, her heart racing. "The cookie monster meets a fairy who teaches him how to shine his light in others' hearts." Jake nodded, encouraged by the direction the stream of creativity was taking. "And then he discovers the true magic of baking isn't just about the cookies, but about sharing joy, making connections." Caught in the moment, Emily felt alive. That was exactly what they were doing. Could it be that this was the magic they were meant to harness together? To build a life of laughter, love, and shared memories with Lily at the center? "Can we do that, Mommy?" Lily's voice broke through, pulling the adults from their reverie. "Yes, sweetheart," Emily said, her heart swelling with warmth. "We can." This was the moment. With Jake beside her, sharing laughter and light, she was ready to chase away the shadows. "Jake," she said, her honesty fierce, "I want to explore this us. I want to discover the potential that's right here, right now." Jake swallowed, his expression serious yet hopeful. "Are you sure? I don't want to push you. This can take time or it can be something more, but if you want to try, I'm all in." Emily, with her heart racing and adrenaline coursing through her veins, she made the leap. "I'm ready. I want you in our lives, your laughter, your kindness. I want to see where it all goes." Their eyes locked, the storm outside faded fully, giving way to the warmth of shared dreams and aspirations. It was no longer just about the cookies or stories, it was about building something beautiful together, a bond that could withstand any future tempests. Lily clapped, infecting the room with her joy as she shrieked, "Yay! We're a cookie family now." Jake chuckled, pulling Emily closer, their laughter mingling with Lily's boundless excitement. In that light-filled room, new resolve settled in Emily's heart. This was their moment to rise, to embrace love over fear, to face whatever storms would come. Together, the future stretched out ahead of them like an endless batch of cookies, ready to be made, each layered with the freedom of honesty and tenderness. Emily smiled wide, feeling gratitude and love wrap around her, holding them steady against any uncertainty. "Let us bake a new life together," she declared boldly, and they laughed with Lily, who clutched her cookie monster, waiting for the next sweet adventure. The world was theirs for the taking, and this was just the beginning. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to share.